Advice on how best to navigate through the coming years?
Well, in terms of leading up to the 2012, I would assume that would mean. 2012 is a real open question, isn't it? I mean, so many people have written books about 2012, trying to understand what's going on. I personally, my favourite is a chap called Maurice Cotterill, who discussed it in terms of solar cycles. So it's interesting to me that, you know, there is some sort of effect potentially going to happen, but does it mean that it's going to be the entire end of the world? 5,000 years ago, when the Mayans started up their calendar, 3,100 BC or so, the end of the world didn't occur at that time, and yet that was a marker for them for an end of the age. So Freeman alluded to this earlier on by saying that it's a spiritual change. It's a change in perhaps our perspective, our understanding of our place within the universe. And I'd like to sort of think that that is where we're going, because through the difficulties, the clear difficulties that we all face during the next few years in terms of a potential depression, in terms of difficulties that our civilization faces with the economics, there is potential there for a huge amount of growth. And perhaps 2012 marks the point where we grow up a bit.
Well, it's really interesting you should say that, because in the programme we did 2 weeks ago with Michael Tessarian and Jeff Stray, where we were talking about 2012, that was, to some extent, the conclusion of that programme, that 2012 isn't necessarily something to be afraid of, although there may well be great change, and it could be part of some spiritual awakening and maybe entering some other phase of humanity.
People who are far more spiritual than I am would argue that in order to obtain enlightenment, you need to first go into the pit. And it may this is it. It may well be that the next few years are the pit. It's the difficult bit that we've got to get through. But, there may be something to what Cotterill's arguing about with the sun. There may be something cosmological in terms of, what's going on with the solar system. But I rather suspect that a lot of it is really up to us to, evolve.
Is it just about becoming conscious, do you think? I mean, more conscious. A lot of people seem to, I don't know this as a fact, but a lot of people seem to be fairly unconscious about anything other than their day-to-day lives.
The sleepers.
Yeah, or sheeple, some call them.
The vast majority of people are like that, and they are attentive to their fairly basic needs, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're living their lives, but they're not necessarily trying to step out of their lives and look at it and see the bigger picture. And perhaps the difficulties that we face over the next few years will make people step back from, say, materialism and look at things in the light of trying to understand a little bit more about our place in the universe and what life's really all about.
Yeah, I mean, do you resonate with that, Freeman?